Hey there everybody, it's Zach. Feel free to argue. I have a couple purposes, well, several purposes in making this video. First of all, I want to thank all the people who have subscribed to my channel or sent me friend requests recently. Really appreciate it. I'm very touched actually by the response to my RNC videos, and it's helped me a lot. Helped me, well, as I described my RNC experience, especially Thursday, it may not have been the worst day of my life, but it was definitely in the top 5. I'd also specifically like to thank Fuck You Very Much and J. Perry AM for sharing my videos and helping to draw people in so that they can see what I've been posting. You know, you all have a lot more subscribers than I do, and having your support has helped get a lot of visibility for the stuff that I've been doing. I really appreciate that. And the last task is not one I'm really happy about. It's talking about the end of the march, and part of that is I'm not terribly proud about the way I ended things. Well, after the previous videos that I posted, which dealt with the leaders getting nabbed and and the commentary that I did, which I think that was all in the 7:15 time frame, and at this point we'd basically facing down the cops for a couple of hours, and I could feel things just getting progressively worse. At a certain point, right after that, I had to go to the bathroom because I felt like my bladder was about to explode. And that took about 20 minutes, and while I went to the restrooms and came back, I was kind of watching things, and I just noticed that there was a whole lot more police arriving, which seemed almost unimaginable, or at least it did until I saw that there were just vast hordes of them left over at the end of the day. We'll get to that later. And I also noticed that there were a series of aggressive movements. At one point I noticed a whole set of bicycle cops riding up these steps leading into a parking lot where people were watching what was going down at the intersection, and they went very fast up these steps all the time, yelling "Move, move, move!" at everyone, and then they just all got off their bicycles and kind of assumed an aggressive posture, and but didn't do anything further. It was just kind of there were a whole series of those kinds of things going on at this time, and you could just feel the tension ramping up. So while I was going to the bathroom and coming back, I guess there were new leaders in the group, and they decided to take the group north at this point, which would be back in the direction of the first standoff. I followed them for a while, and they got to the bridge, and the police were there again, and they paused for a while, and then they decided to keep going north. This would basically taking them in a big circle around the XL Center. At this point, actually, probably angling more away as opposed to toward the actual center. And this is honestly where I just, well, my spider sense was going off big time. I mean, I could sense that things would just about reach the breaking point. And I have to confess, after the tensions of the picnic, and basically having a police helicopter over my head all day, and the hours of standoffs with police, I honestly was certain that we were going to get tear gassed and arrested on the bridge at the first standoff. Surprised we even got away from that. And I guess at that time I was even more prepared for the idea. I mean, I was ready for it. I felt like I could have handled it at that point. But at some point I just got that beaten out of me. And so I watched those people go away, knowing really, what was about to happen, and just not being able to be a part of it. And I know that part of what I was doing was I was thinking about my daughter and how she was crying when I left, and how she would ask, are you going to be in jail for a long time? And I thought about my friends who I was staying with there, don't have a lot of money. And it's hard for him to get off work because he's a temp worker. And, I'd always already kind of made an imposition on him because I know that a couple nights earlier they'd been looking around for me because I didn't have my cell phone with me. And I'd really been rude. I hadn't called. And so he was out just looking for me in the neighborhood, I'm not sure he thought he was going to find me or anything. They'd call the police and they'd call the hospitals. I felt really bad, actually. But for whatever reason, I watched them go away, and I started drifting, I guess, eastward towards the capital again. And shortly after I left the group, all hell broke loose. I saw 6 or 7 motorcycle cops going along the path that the group had just taken. I saw 5 or 6 mounted police, 6 or 7 guys on bicycles. I think it was 8 squad cars, lights going, 5 or 6 vans full of cops in riot gear. And then about 5 minutes after that, I heard, I saw, about 5 minutes after that, I saw a paddy wagon and a school bus, which I knew that school buses were being used for mass arrests. So, I guess I just missed it. And I really felt bad, and I felt like a fraud and a coward watching all that happen and knowing what was happening with the people that I had just been with. And I wished I could have been there. I wish I could have made myself be there, even if I couldn't have gotten it on videotape for you people. And I got a few more minutes of video, just a little while after that. I was by the Capitol, and I was just ran into yet another one of those people from Veterans for Peace. I seem to see them everywhere. And we just talked about a few things, and we looked at just the enormous row of police and riot gear right across from us at that point. And I realized that I was actually breathing heavily, though I'd been doing nothing but walking. Now I'll be posting that after this one. It's a short video. I just want to say that I have nothing but admiration for the people in this march, especially the people who made it all the way to the end. And there'll be a couple of articles in the sidebar about the march, and there'll be both of them I think have slideshows as well, so you can see a bit from it. But I have admiration for those people because with all that tension, with all those threats, all they did the whole time was peacefully ask for what should be their birthright as Americans. No violence, no aggression. thanks to them, props to them.